So I don't think it's just a KC thing. I think it's like a wherever your hometown thing is.
Yeah.
And I'm also learning too, like, we can't pick and choose what people love about us.
Right.
That's the other thing too. So
Yeah.
back to my earlier point, I don't want to ever come across ungrateful for anybody who's pressed play on my music.
Right.
You know, you might think that people like you for how you said this or, you know, this or that. Whole time they might just like how you dress.
Why ain't I see you around back when I was down?
What's up, world? It's your boy, Big Court of the Holdin Court Podcast on Legacy Builder University. You already know what it is, man. I got my beautiful oldest daughter in the place to be. What's up, Rachel Renee?
What's up, world? I'm excited.
You see, I stumbled on your name because I was finna call you Baby Rachel. You know, it's still my baby, even though she grown. I was finna call her Baby Rachel. But hey, listen, man. So real quick, I want you guys to go to iambigcourt.com. I want you to tap in with my Legacy Builder University community. We're about 1,000 strong. Man, we teaching people how to monetize social media, business, funding, e-commerce, all kind of stuff. We trying to help you level up your life, man. Mindset strategies. You already know what I'm about. So without further ado, you know what I mean? We got the hometown in here. Well, kind of, sort of.
Why?
Here we go.
You already know where I'm finna start. No, but on the real, we got the hometown. We got the homie Irv Da Phenom in the building. What's cracking?
Phenom, what up?
What's going on, bro?
Just understand you have no Kansas City without the word Kansas.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so for the people that don't know, for the people that don't know, the reason I said that is because he is from Kansas City, Kansas. I am from Kansas City, Missouri.
Wow.
And you know, we're neighboring cities, we're family, but you know, it's always a running little joke, little rivalry, or whatever the case may be. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Let me tell you a funny thing. So I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, right?
Kind of.
Yeah, technically, right?
Okay.
Born and raised. So when I went to go get my TSA thing, right? You gotta bring, and so they kept, everything's in the database. So they kept saying your birth state. I kept saying Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri. And it wasn't coming up. I'm like, how's it not coming up? Minor oversight. I was born in Kansas City, Kansas.
KU. It's always been so special. You know what I'm saying? That's why
technically,
really
I was born in KCK. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so mind you,
water.
I'm like 30 years later, like, damn, that's right. I was born in Kansas City, Kansas.
And you was wondering why you was so great the whole
You know
time.
what I mean?
Yeah, it was wild.
I'm from the Show Me State where the Chiefs and the Royals reside.
She was born in Kansas City, Missouri. You know, Truman, straight up.
Both sides of the water go crazy. So we just,
we tease.
Hey, but you know, it's all love with KCK, KCMO, so much talent.
Absolutely.
But what's funny is me being in LA 22 years and traveling, and you probably get this because you're well traveled as well. You know, when I go places and I tell people I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, they'll turn around and say, yeah, so how is it in Kansas? We kind of get offended on the Missouri side. Look, bro. Look, bro. I'm from 816, not 913. They'll be like,
Literally.
you know. So, but yeah, man, I appreciate you coming. This has been a couple years in the making.
Yeah.
We've been trying to get our schedules to align. One thing I want to say about this brother though is, and this is just a message too, just even with KC in general, my relationship with KC is all love, but it can be rocky sometimes, you know what I mean? But the thing about it is me and this brother always started out when we started talking, it was love and respect, and it was mutual, which, that can be tricky sometimes in our culture. It can be that thing. And then, because I know, and the reason I say that is because when people see this interview, it'll be certain others that'll be like, oh, why he ain't had me? Why I ain't been on the show? Why? This is how it goes when you cultivate relationships and you nurture relationships, and it's based on and predicated and built on respect, mutual respect.
Yeah.
We've never had a cross word. It's never been no hate and no sideline. It's always been respect and support, and us not even really knowing each other initially. You know what I mean? And not to mention, matter of fact, he would call me on some of my wardrobe missteps or things I could have did better. That's another thing that I appreciate.
Thank you.
Yes, he would. He would. I would do something and he sidebar with me like, hey, big dog, yeah, see, that was cool, but what you should have did, you know what I'm saying? And then he would say little nice shit like, yeah, if you ever need some help or something, just holler at me, So I do, he's kind of.
I appreciate that you received that.
Yes,
how it was intended.
Absolutely,
You know what I mean? Because
absolutely.
I really just want to see people be like.
I know that. I felt that
in a bag. You know what I'm saying?
I felt that. Yeah, and so that's how our fashion thing started. So now, when I'm not sure about something or I really want to step it up, and I feel like, okay, I'm not confident with this. I ain't qualified. Let me hit Irv. I've hit him from designer stores or Nordstrom or whatever, and be like, bruh, man, can you video chat real quick? I literally like a kid, like, man, this right? This look right? He'd be like, yeah, put a khaki with that.
Thank you. You're responsible for the khaki.
Yeah, you can never mess with a jean and this type of shoe, and I literally listen. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
For sure. I appreciate you trusting me.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So starting from the beginning, bro. Born and raised in KCK, right?
Well, born in Gainesville, Florida. And then we moved to Kansas City.
Okay.
So my father moved us to Kansas City and started a tire shop when I was like 3-4 years old. And then, just grew up in Wyandotte, heavy in the church. And always right there with him, I remember he had this little truck and I would be in the front seat of that truck and my mom would be at work and my dad would take me with him while he was at the shop doing his thing, and I'd be getting ate up by mosquitoes. I remember that. And just kind of watching him and just studying him, and he'd give me a little workbook to be doing, my math and reading, and that was it until I was old enough to roll a tire, and then I became an employee.
Okay, and this is once you guys got to KCK.
Yeah, that's in Kansas.
Okay, what year? How old were you?
I was 3, so this is like early 90s.
Okay.
Early 90s, yep.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, wow. So you were not a little kid. You were.
Yeah, I was about to start kindergarten.
Oh, okay. 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 Yeah. So yeah, you are kind of young. Yeah, you're much younger than me.
Like you're computing.
Yeah, I forget. Everybody not as old as me. Okay. No, that's
a lot
dope.
of people think I'm older than I am though, because I started doing stuff real young. I started driving out of state selling CDs and I just got my permit. You know what I'm saying? So I popped out real early.
Right. Yeah, you do have a mature vibe about you. So what type of musical influences did you have growing up?
Well, I am a member of the Church of Christ. And in the Church of Christ, we don't use any instruments. So everything is a cappella. So my first experience with music was in the church, but it was like all a cappella, the most beautiful harmonies and like even sometimes beatboxing. Like if you ever seen the movie Pitch Perfect.
Yes.
We'd have regional singings where all the churches from Oklahoma to St. Louis, Nebraska, all come together and they it's like Pitch Perfect with gospel. So yeah, that was my first introduction to music until I got old enough to my cousins from Florida would come up and stay with my dad. He was like the uncle that if he was cutting up at home, I'm gonna go see you, stay with your Uncle Mitchell. So when they would come, that's whenever the rap music would come. And that's whenever first time I heard I remember the first hip hop song I remember hearing was You Don't Know Nan by Trick Daddy and Trina.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing Trina's verse and was like, I was in the backseat of the car just like, oh my God, she said what?
Yeah.
And then I remember they played Rosa Parks by Outkast too.
Yes.
And I just remember sitting in that back seat. We was in some apartment somewhere.
Yeah.
And I was just back there I don't know what else was going on. I just remember that music playing in that car, and that was whenever my eyes opened to everything else. And and I grew up in a skating rink too. My dad was a roller skater who started a national skate organization called Skate Masters USA.
Nice.
So with him being, he knew all the owners of the skating rinks. It would be a 21 and up night. And like I said, he always kept me with him. So here I am, 8-9 years old in this adult skating rink, and they playing the new Ice Cube, the new R. Kelly, the new Avant. The new,
is this Skate Land out in Grandview?
Oh, all of it. We was at all of them. There used to be a skating rink on 103rd. It used to be, the one in Grandview.
Yeah.
Skate Land off of, I think, 78th and Wyandotte. Like, I grew up in all the skate rinks, but that music, big speakers,
the music, bro,
unedited.
I know in Chicago they have a rich skating culture, roller skating culture. I think out here in LA too. But man, if you were old enough to be around when Skate Land was it was such a vibe. I used to love going, because I ain't gonna lie, I was like Sweetness when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about I could skate backwards, I could do a backflip, all of that, but this is like the 80s, you know what I mean? And so is that still a thing in KC? Is there still a skate culture?
We still roll for sure. My dad just did a event out there at Wynwood, and people came from all over, from Oklahoma, and like just people come together because of that culture. It's a very real like family, you know what I mean? Because it's active.
Right.
A lot of times when you go out, it's like clubs, drinking, whatever.
Yeah.
You can't drink and skate.
Right.
So it's like a very specific kind of fun that people are into, and they skate well into their 60s and 70s.
That's
my dad's still out there rolling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So growing up in the church, was it strict, or you just went to church every Sunday?
No, it was strict. No, see, it wasn't just every Sunday. It was every Sunday morning, every Sunday evening.
Wow.
Every Wednesday.
Okay.
Yes, it was like
were
church all week.
Were they kind of, like molding you to be in the church, like the ministry? Or is that what, or they just, that's just what they knew to give you?
Yeah, that was my first stage, was leading songs. My dad made me lead songs, like, and I got used to being in front of people, working the communion, the collection, reading the scripture and all that. And that was it. And it was no secular music in our house. You know
that's what I figured. That was going into my next question.
Yeah, no, it was no secular music in our house.
How did y'all like consolidate this skate culture, which definitely not playing gospel, and then you know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Like I mean, like I said, it's so
time
unique.
and place.
Yeah. And my dad never really he's very structured and strict. And if he played anything, like if he was DJing or something, it would be edited. But like I said, the skate rink is its own unique thing. Yeah. So but what he did do, he started doing more gospel skates and stuff to, kind of control the music, but it was too late.
Was there any confliction with you when you started when you started hearing secular or even wanting to sing secular? Was there any confliction with you and your family?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Oh, you could be doing gospel. Why you cussing so much? And he's completely right. You know what I mean? And as I mature more and I got my own daughter now, you know what I mean? I am more conscious about like, do I really need to drop that nigga right there? Or like, can I say another word? But yeah, he was even myself though. It's just the way I was raised. I remember like just listening to certain records. Like I skip a certain record on the album because I'm like, oh, he talking too crazy on there. I don't want to hear that. But it's just it was just kind of a balance. It was just like it just came together.
So let me ask you this. So obviously, coming to KCK, and make no mistake, KCK still has its underworld. It still go down over there. You still got hustlers, grinders. You still have the element. I know some real cats from KCK. Shout out to homie KO. But so you're still, even though you have this family oriented, skate culture is keeping you out the way. You have church a couple times a week, but you still have to go outside and you still have to contend with the element. So how did you fare with that? At what point? Or did you ever get street poison and have to confront that part?
I just talked to the homie the other day. I made a wrong turn on a one-way. They didn't used to be a one-way. I'm just so used to, driving down that street, seeing him outside and just like, God is just good and watched out for us, because it's a lot of stuff. I'm just like, how are we even, like, we still here to have this conversation and watch our kids get off the bus stop and all that. So, just the grace of God, because we was just stupid and wild and outside. And it wasn't even necessarily like, trying to be gangster or tough or nothing. We was always like more like the funny, cool dudes that like girls wanted to hang out. I sung, the homies rap, we dress a certain way, and then other people will start dressing like that at school. So it was like, we was just, and the homie hooped, you know what I'm saying? My boy Mills, he's a basketball player. So our focus was always on something else, and we came together because we used to hoop at this basketball court across the street from his house. So the whole hood would go there. So that's how we knew everybody. But we pretty much stayed out of trouble because we got into music so early. You know what I mean? And then it wasn't until later, you know, we got into music at like 13. And then when we get like sophomore, junior year of high school, we outside a little bit more, starting to feel yourself, and you know, trying to get money and do all this. So that's when it, you know, what happens a lot in the hood happened. But
well, let me ask you this. Was there ever a defining moment in the hood? You know, because obviously, even in Kansas, I'm sure you spent a good amount of time on the Missouri side too. Was there ever an instance or an incident that you saw or witnessed, even for yourself or vicariously through a homie or whatever, that you said, you know what? Let me kind of pivot and concentrate on this. I don't know if I want to commit to that.
We was stupid, man. Like it's like we would run towards the gunfire. We was really stupid. Like it was, if you're from Wyandotte, you know about like Snack Pack and Speedway. So you go to Snack Pack, down there kicking it, fight might pop off, somebody start shooting, you duck behind the car, and then after you get through ducking, you jump in the car and drive up the Speedway. Same thing happened there. You go back for it till the police would just stop it. You know what I'm saying? They be down there waiting on you, down there waiting on you. But it's just like, it was just regular, I guess. It wasn't until I got older that I realized how crazy that was. And my parents didn't know about any of it. I didn't tell them about any of it. But it was just like, we was just lucky. We was just lucky. And but at the same time, we were so focused on music, we would be out there in the mix because we was trying to sell CDs. We was trying to, you know, so they get through shooting. All right, y'all got that new one. You know what I'm saying? We selling CDs. So you know, I just feel like God just looked out for us and we stayed safe. You know, some stuff happens. We lost some homies and stuff happened too, but it's just when you grow up in it, it's kind of like,
yeah, for sure.
You don't recognize until you in therapy at 30 something, like, damn, like
the gravity.
When I hear gunshots, it sound too real in a movie. My chest is all tight and I don't know why. And then they explain it to me. It's like, no, you got severe PTSD. So it's just like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know, you know, coming from the city, man, you know, especially if you outside and there's different varying levels to participation. But, you know, because I know for me, it was when I went to jail. You know, that's when I was 15. So when the judge tells you that you're a menace to society and you're a threat to public safety and you're not going home, you know, and I'm in the newspaper for, you know, they're trying to figure out at that time what to do with juvenile offenders that commit adult crimes. So here, you know, yes, it lands on me. I have to be the guinea pig of, okay, what do we certify him at 15? And do we try him as an adult and send him to prison? You know, so I'm now about to set this standard, you know, but sitting in that cell and that woulda, coulda, shoulda kick in. That's what my defining moment was like, oh, this the other side of that, you know, oh, I got to be this dude. Yeah, I don't think I like this like I thought. You know what I mean? Yeah, like it was fun. Sandwiches. It was fun. You know what I'm saying? But this part of it, I don't know. I'm gonna be able to keep doing this one. You know what I'm saying? So I really pulled back on the crash out shit. Not that my criminal activity stopped. It's just that the crash out, funny, you know, just crashing. That shit stopped. That was my defining moment.
Yeah, I was never a crasher. I had crashers around me. Yeah. But I was trying to get them to, you know, come to St. Louis Gateway Classic with me and sell these CDs, bro.
The Gateway Classic.
I was always trying to get everybody to come in, you know what I'm saying? Like, go do something else. And and it was so normal. Like, you would lose a homie, you didn't really cry. You go to funeral, you don't cry. You just you sing at their funeral. Because I sang, so they always had me sing at the homies' funerals. Yeah. It all didn't hit me until later, like for real. It did not hit me until my 30s.
Yeah. And same with me. You know, I think once we moved to LA, it was funny. My wife and I were just talking about this the other day. Remember when we moved to Brentwood?
Yes.
And so we come from Kansas City and we moved to Brentwood, which is a very prestigious, affluent area here in LA. And I just remember it being deafening silent and quiet.
Man,
Yes.
It was eerie to us.
it's terrifying. When I moved to North Hollywood,
Yeah.
when I moved to North Hollywood, it was so quiet. No sirens,
Right.
no noise, no shooting, no
Yes.
nothing. And it took me a long time to get used to it. And
Yep.
then if somebody honked out here, because they honk,
Yes.
I would be bracing myself for gunshots after, because you laid on your horn that long and nobody's like.
There's a
I
problem.
used to say the same
Yes.
thing. So remember when we first moved out here, and when I
People
would
be
step
on their
up-
horn like it ain't no like, because you said it's too many gun laws out here.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
what
used to
it-
days.
like I would see civilians have these minor little, innocuous little interactions.
And nobody dies.
And nobody dies.
And they walk off.
Like, they be like, fuck you.
That's
fuck
an option?
you. And get in their car. And I'm like, what? Somebody got to die.
You're nervous. Like,
yeah.
oh my God, no.
And you don't realize
man.
how crazy
And you
that
don't
is.
realize
Like,
how
you
crazy
are
it
messed
is.
up. And you
That's
don't
a
realize
fact.
until
That's a fact. And once
crazy.
you're out of it, and even now when I go back to KC,
Wow.
I have to turn back on that mentality when I'm in the city. I can't be how I am when I'm out here in LA with where I live at, So it's like it clicks, and then because you don't, like you say, you don't realize until you're out of it, really what it is.
I couldn't find a picture of myself smiling until I was like 25, 26, because I would see pictures of me and fans, and I'm like, why you always look like that in these pictures? Like, I just remember thinking like, why you don't give them better? And I remember because anybody come in the neighborhood and, if we ain't laughing and joking, it's like, why this nigga so happy? Why is he smiling? We don't trust you.
That's right.
Because you have joy. I'm like, that's insane.
It is.
And it's only black men.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn.
What do you think that's attributed to? Do you think that's like toxic masculinity, or do you think it goes even further back just to the distrust that we have and the disdain and all that type of stuff that's been kind of ingrained in us?
Yeah, it's systematic. You know what I mean? And then there's a lot of trauma, and you don't know it's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to do with this emotion.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm too happy, I don't want to walk on the block smiling like, hey, nigga, guess what happened? Like, look at this goofy ass. You know what I'm saying? This nigga can read good. Drink water. Like,
Ain't that funny?
anything will get you roasted. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny. Yeah.
And it just, for me, it's just like, man, for me, the most like gangster shit is like, fuck y'all, I'm really happy. I'm smiling.
That's
I'm
a
having
fact.
a great time.
That's
I
a
love
level
my
of
life.
maturity, though.
Yeah.
That's maturity, man. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't make it to that space, Because for me, it took, the self-work started even before I moved out the environment, because I had to start doing that to be able to be willing to move out the environment.
And you can't be all weird in these spaces of like entertainment.
Right.
Like, whose security guard is this?
Right.
Oh, he's the actor. Oh, he's a musician.
Yeah.
Like, why is he?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Looking like he just did 5.
Yeah. and you learn, like, I can't be in these spaces.
Yeah.
Like, why can't I smile and laugh? You know what I'm saying? And then you get around.
Yes.
You see a sunset over the beach with a little kid in Mexico playing with a ball and a dog. Like, bro, I cried. Because I had never even, I never saw myself old.
Yeah.
I never even thought of what that would be like. And then I started seeing it. And I was like, damn, but it only came when I started traveling and seeing like, oh, y'all go to the beach? Y'all be running up mountains? And it's not considered like white people shit.
I know.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do white people get to do all the fun shit in nature?
Yeah.
Yes.
I like swimming.
I like nature too.
Yeah, I like
Right.
nature. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, the more I embrace that,
That's a fact.
it's
That's
like
a fact.
it's made it easier to navigate like
Yeah.
more feelings than anger, aggression, and supremacy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like being the hardest and it's like, okay, let me just appreciate
That's a fact.
life.
And
I like that.
Go ahead, baby.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I like that you are talking about this so much because as a woman, especially as a Black woman, like me and my friend, we would always say this because I would be like, it's so odd that when I get around us, even as a woman, I feel like I can't be giddy and bubbly and, myself. Because even with the women, it's kind of like, oh, this chick is weird. Like, what are you on?
Right.
And even out here, like when I go to LA, not the Valley, but when I go to LA, it's still that. And I'm like, what is it about us and our culture that rejects happiness, joy? And, same thing like you said, when I came out here, going from Kansas City to Pacific Palisades, going to school, I'm like, being exposed to Black people that hiked or went camping and, not having these experiences. And I'm like, what is going on with us? And it is, and I didn't know that Black men also experience that to that extent of like, even just that feeling of not being able to be yourself, be happy without feeling like the weirdo. It's crazy to me.
I think we internalize the thought that we don't deserve good things, good feelings, peace.
Yes.
Yep.
And especially as a Black man, whenever you see yourself being depicted a certain way constantly, when you see your body, your dead body on the news constantly, eventually something clicks in your head. And keep in mind, you're not just seeing on the news. The homie just got shot over a game of basketball. The homie just got shot over here, shot over here, shot over here. I'm scared, low key, and I might shoot a nigga too, just because I don't want to get shot and be on the news. So all this is going on to where it becomes normalized, and like everything around you is telling you you have little value. You don't get to be happy. You don't. So it's just like, until people get to that point of like, it's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay to laugh and just be peaceful and just be happy.
Oh, that's a fact. Even, and I kind of always intrinsically had that. Cause even me coming from the hood, bro, like I was a lot of people don't know, but except for the people that grew up with me, I initially wanted to be a professional BMXer. You know what I'm saying? That was my first passion before anything. Now, mind you, I'm an 80s kid, and I'm in the hood. I got freestyle magazines. I got a mongoose. I'm doing all the shit.
You make the ramp with the wood.
I said with the wood, all of that, right? Like I'm trying to be the Black Dennis McCoy. And I'm in the hood doing this, but I never felt like, like I was on some white people shit or, and I could say that my peers, they were doing it too, but not to the degree that I was. Like, I'm designing bikes. I'm drawing and designing frames. And in my mind at 10, 11 years old, I'm thinking, okay, so what I'm finna do is I'm about to get sponsored by GT or Mongoose. Then I'm going to design my own frame. So I'm going to be ready. In my mind, this is what I'm thinking, But as I got older, and it's funny because when I see, things that I post on social media to kind of contextualize my history and just, not to be so contrived. And because people want to know who you are, I would share those things, and I would have some people be like, "Man, he be on that white boy shit," which is crazy. And or you hear, "Oh, he uses big words. He talks white." Like, what is that?
Why do we vilify intellect?
White? Yes,
why do we vilify effort?
Thank you.
I went to Sumner Academy. Sumner Academy is an arts and science school, and there's always this thing like, "Oh, the Sumner nerds, some nerds." That's what they used to call it. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny, it's all jokes, but it is a real thing where I don't feel away. I just feel like, man, I hope you get past that. Like when people react, they was like, I want to know about how you would love chess. I want to know how you would love to collect stamps. And you a 300-pound diesel crip. You know what I'm saying? Like I would love to know that. Because it's like, it's so much that you're robbing yourself of.
You're robbing yourself. Absolutely.
You're robbing yourself.
You have yourself in bondage, in mental bondage. I remember, cause me and Jazz, shout out to Jazz Brewer.
Oh, yeah,
we go back and forth cause we both are yacht rock fans. And it's so funny, the people, I would see little comments and people like, man, what these dudes be on talking about Journey and woo, woo, woo. And I'm like, man, so you only listen to Fat Tone and Rich?
But this is what I was telling you the other night when we was talking about music on an interview, because I was telling him, like, growing up, I was so happy to have parents and, but especially my dad, who has such an eclectic music taste, that I didn't feel weird for watching The Matrix and trying to find a song at the end or, watching Devil's Advocate. I'm like, ooh, Paint in Black, who is that? And being able to have rock in my playlist and play it out loud or, any other things without him coming in like, what is this? This ain't Brother Lynch or Spice One. We don't play that here. It was accepted. And it did. It opens up your world. And like you said, the experiences that you rob yourself, because even when you get in different spaces, you want to network and meet people. If all you have are these particular experiences, well, how are we connecting? You know what I mean? And
even beyond connecting, when you look at the Harlem Renaissance, in the Harlem Renaissance, you had people who were at one point enslaved, constant oppression. But once that foot comes off you a little bit, guess what happened? You get poetry, you get dance, you get innovation, you get art. Even in the medieval times, the Renaissance then. Once your basic needs are met and you're happy, you start evolving and giving to the world. Your output's better. So it's a lot of stuff that people, gifts they could give to the world that they're not going to be able to give to the world till they get past that fight or flight survival mindset, which
the hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, and I don't say it's a luxury because I feel like it should be a fundamental thing for everybody.
I agree.
But I feel like too many of us treat it like it's a luxury.
Right.
When you have access to that peace and joy required to just live a better life.
Especially now, you know, because, and I hate to keep harping on age, but that plays a factor. Me growing up, we didn't have social media. So your only way of you know, exploration or discovery would be either through a book or just your imagination or TV. You know what I'm saying? Or if you were fortunate enough that your family could travel and take you places, which I was a kid that, you know, I was fortunate enough where I could see outside of the city and outside of my environment and see how other people maneuver. And I think that's important, especially in those formative years. But if you don't have those things, you know, you still kind of, you know, what advice would you give to someone to pull themselves? You know, it's like, pull yourself up out of that. Don't be afraid to venture out and be different.
I think just there's a certain feeling of like joy. There's a certain thing you could do and lose track of the clock. It don't feel like you gotta be nowhere else. You gotta do nothing else. Like find those things genuinely, whatever they are, and just sit with them and think about how it make you feel. And like that way you feel light and just happy. And just sit with those more, and then it'll unlock more stuff and pursue those things. Like, okay, let's say you like, I don't know, video games. Like play more video games and go to a video game convention.
Yes.
And it's in those passions, you'll start meeting other people from other cultures, and y'all got that common ground of whatever. And then it kind of just, the more you see the world, the more you can learn yourself in that in that spectrum. You know what I'm saying? Like you can only know yourself as much as you know the world around you.
Right.
So the more you travel, the more you're going to identify with stuff in yourself. So just follow your passion. I think that's the biggest thing. It's like whatever you're passionate about, just, you know, dig into it. And then other stuff unlocks.
It's funny that you say joy, you know, because I think sometimes people confuse joy and happiness. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You know, joy is, that's internal. You're going to have joy. Joy can't be disrupted or disturbed by external things. You know what I'm saying? Happiness can.
Yeah.
You can be happy for a second and then you get a bill in the mail and shit fucked up. You know what I mean? I was happy until I got this bill. You know what I mean?
Joy says, I paid this bill all year long.
Yep.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to pay it
Bingo.
again. God is good. Yeah, for sure.
Bingo. So let me pivot a little bit. So you started as a singer. And at what point do you know, say, you know what, I'm gonna get into this rap shit? And when you did, what were your influences? Primarily locally.
Okay, so yeah, I've always sang and rapped. And it was really just because it was the thing, like this is like Chameleonaire, Paul Wall, freestyle. They would do this thing where they would literally freestyle and put out these mixtapes. So it was just the dope thing to do. And you know, doing it and being good at it, I just kept up with it. And influence wise, we was listening to, of course, you got Ted. I remember learning, he said, because nobody ever wanted me rapping, but I knew within me, I could make it happen, flipping hella different, really get it, cracking, never biting nothing, I was never jacking. And I remember running it back over and over until I could learn it.
Yeah.
And Busta Rhymes, he did this record called Break Your Neck.
Oh yeah. Oh,
that was crazy.
Going on that. Yeah.
And then Twista.
Yeah.
I heard Get It Wet. Twista, Speed Not Monsters, Do or Die.
Do or Die.
I stole one of my friends, had a burnt CDR with all their stuff on it, and I just walked to the bus stop listening to all. So I was really into like the technical, it was called chopping or twisting.
That's right.
And so that was my influence. And I think I really started going harder with that because of I don't know. Like I got a good response for both. Like singing, got a good response. Rapping got a good response. It wasn't until I started doing music with Tech that it was rap that a lot of his fans were introduced to me, and I just did what was working more. You know, I still sang, but that was it.
How did you come into contact with Tech?
I was okay. So I have it's like a big brother to me. His name is Punch. And he was like a multimillionaire at 20 something early on. And he was into tech and video game design, computer software, stuff like that. And we went to church together, and him being like the big bro, he's like 5-6 years older. I gave him a mixtape. No, I didn't. I don't think I even gave him a mixtape because I never would give my music to people at church. I kind of like kept it
separate.
Some kind of way he found out, or his little brother told him what I was doing. He heard it. He was like, I want to put some money behind you. The first person ever, really the only person, like put some money behind me. And I'm like 16. So he starts having me fly out in like early on A&R, artist development. So he's sending me to Atlanta to work with like some of T-Pain's producers. I'm doing the Kentucky Derby. I'm like missing school to go like perform with Ludacris and all that. And I'm taking the homies with me. And he also put me in Chapman Recording. So the old Chapman used to be on Wyandotte Street, downtown. Rest in peace, Chuck Chapman, great dude. But yeah, so it's like $75-$80 an hour, and he's got me in there with Rob Rebeck in a big dog studio. And I got the whole block with me, so it's like 8 of us, like all these kids in the studio, because I just, my mentality is like I want to bring everybody with me. So we were in the B studio working on our mixtape called Highly Anticipated, and in the A studio was Tech Nine and Chris and Cut, and they're working on, I think, Misery Loves Company or something like that. And I've always been like, I'm gonna introduce myself, I'm gonna speak, I'm gonna push my line, like that's just how I am. So I would kind of peek my head out and see what's going on. Okay, cool. All right, Cut about to go downstairs, smoke a cigarette. Okay, cool. I'm about to go downstairs too. So I go downstairs, introduce myself to Cut. He's smoking a cigarette, and he's kind of like shocked, like what these little niggas doing in Chapman's. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the best studio in the city. And I had him come up, listen to some of our stuff. Cut liked it, and then he said, "Well, come on over here," and brought me over to the A studio. And I go in there, introduce myself to everybody, and again, they're like, "This nigga 16, 17 in the big dog studio." And it's like, okay, cool. And Cut did a verse for me. So Cut did a verse for me, and then kind of just kept building a relationship, and eventually approached Travis about learning how to run a label, because they would see me at all the shows, all the meet and greets. Me and my guys was out there handing out CDs. Sometimes they try to run us off, but we'll still come back and hand out CDs.
Real quick, about what year was this?
This is probably 2000 and it was a few years. It was probably 2007, 2006 and 7. But yeah, so they would see us selling our CDs in the city. They would hear our names. They see like, you little dudes are really out here with it. And eventually I just told Trav, like, hey, I could be out here with y'all posters and y'all CDs too, but I just want to learn, how do I run an independent label? So I'm interning. I just want to learn. So, from there, he was like, okay, cool. Gave me a few different little missions. I go out there. We stapled I don't know if you remember, but it used to be posters.
Oh yeah.
Staple, and ran all the way up the light pole to the top.
Of course.
I was out there doing that.
You staple them together, then push it up. Keep doing it, push it up.
And I did that all the way from Blue Springs to Wyandotte to just at the whole metro. And after doing that so long, it's like, okay, cool. We got this thing called a CD hustler. Because Strange would do this thing where before the show, to have guys go out with a duffel bag full of CDs, like, hey, I got that new, I got new Tech, got the new Chris, I got da-da-da, and we sell them hand to hand. So, the masters of merch game, for sure.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
So I would do that, and I was putting up numbers then. And I, just doing that, and it would be a couple cities where, because before this tour, I would follow, like, just bigger tours and sleep in my car and sell CDs behind it. You know what I'm saying? So every now and again, some of the fans would be like, you Irv Da Phenom, I got your mixtape like a couple weeks ago. So that'd be cool. And
this is why you're on tour with
this is while I'm out there as a CD hustler.
Okay, CD hustler.
I'm just selling merch.
Okay,
I'm just CD hustler.
Got you.
So, one night I was talking to Chris, because I knew Chris Calico through roller skating. So he would roller skate with us, and I don't know, I was playing him something, and then Tech came from the back of the bus. I didn't know Tech was on the bus. But he's like, "Who's this?" And Chris was like, "Oh yeah, this is Irv." He said, "Nigga, you ain't supposed to be selling CDs. You supposed to be making music with us." So like, I was hype as hell. I got out the bus, called my girl. I told you making music with them. So shit. As soon as we got back to the city, we started working, and then you know, everything kind of just developed over that. But it just started off with me wanting to learn how to run an indie label, and just putting in sweat equity.
Okay, so let me ask you. So you were able to tour with Tech and Strange, right? So you actually you opened for him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I started as a CD hustler, then did like some tours with them, and then eventually got on stage with Chris Calico as like his hype man. But I have a little set in his stuff too, because we both rap, we both sing, we both can move on stage. So there's like, man, y'all be perfect together. So yeah.
What kept you from signing with Strange?
I just feel like I had a different path. I truly feel like God had a different path for me, and that's all it was. I just pursued things my way, and you know, a lot of people like, man, I would do this, I would do that, and like everybody's path ain't the same.
That's right. That's
so
right.
I trust in what God has for me, and it's continued to play out and show me that, you know,
Do you prefer to be independent and front your own racket opposed to being, you know, plugged into a Strange music or a label?
I'm not opposed to being plugged into a label, because your music's going to reach more people. You know what I mean? So each side has its pros and cons. So I never would shut down like a label or anything. I'm just doing what I got to do. Like I can't stop until I get to a label. So I still continue to release music, because I would be recording these records whether or not anybody heard them. So, and it's also part of like keep shooting them jumpers. You know what I'm saying? Like
getting your reps in.
Yeah, just getting the reps in. So yeah, it's pros and cons to both. But
so you never told me who your local influences were. Like who you was rocking with in the city, and who do you rock with in the city musically?
It was Tech. It was Lee Joe.
Rest in peace to Lee Joe. That was the homie.
Rest in peace, Lee Joe.
Real quick, let me tell a little funny story about Lee Joe. Just because, you know, we on the national platform now. So I got to educate, you know, the crowd.
This is Kansas City history.
You know, this Kansas City history. Listen, shout out to the homie Lee Joe. Rest in peace. I met Lee Joe. I met them at Castle Records. Shout out to Dominic. Rest in peace to him as well. Dominic was a player, you know, hustler from the KC side. He was older than us, had finger waves and shit, you know what I'm saying? You know, had the rope and everything. So this was about 90, maybe 91, but I want to say about 90. They had a studio on 31st and Troost. Troost. And that was the first time that me and my partner Cisco came up out the room recording in the house. And so we in the studio. Now their studio wasn't Chapman, but you know, they had mixing board, you know, they was doing their thing. So we're a duo, CCG, and then we meet High Daddy and Lee Joe. Never heard of them, nothing. So
High Daddy was Lee Joe's actual father.
Huh?
Was that his father?
No, High Daddy is his brother.
His name is High Daddy.
His name is High Daddy. They were a duo. They were called High Daddy and Lee Joe.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, they were a duo. And so I never heard of them, never met them. And so we get in the studio. Now I'm not realizing what the bigger guys of Castle Records is doing. They're basically, you know, putting us in kind of against each other on some rap shit, right?
Right.
So, you know, I was 14. So I'm just kind of, you know, getting my shit, right? This nigga Lee Joe gets into the studio. Now, Lee Joe maybe was a year older than me, maybe a year or two older than me. Man, he was so advanced and so developed. I didn't rap. After I saw, because High Daddy was on some kind of slower player shit, I was like, oh, I got him. You know, Lee Joe went in there. He had the same confidence, the same bravado, the same delivery at that time. And I remember saying, yeah, I'm going to sit this one out. Like, who the fuck is this dude? You know what I mean? That's a true story.
He got it.
That's a true story.
Before me and Lee Joe, my introduction was when he said, I murder your whole city. I said, nigga, the whole city? Ah! He
Yeah.
said, "Don't the motherfucker." I said, "Yo,
Man, Lejo was one of the
Cold.
dopest on that twisting shit. And
Cold.
not only the technical part of it, because I was a twister, Lejo was a twister. You know, we had our, is Dilemma from KC?
yeah, for sure."
Dilemma. It was, you know, but now I'm going back to the 90s. At that point, it was me, Lejo, maybe Tech at the time. It was only a handful of us that was doing that. But not only, but the lyrics though, he just wasn't lick, stick, dick. You know what I mean? No, he was actually saying things.
Yeah,
So,
Lejo was cold.
Lejo was cold, man. Rest in peace to the homie.
He used to, him and Chauncey Clyde, they had, you know, the young homies come to the basement and freestyle. Him, who else? Vigilante will be down there.
Yeah.
And that's we was just sharpening our skills, freestyling in the basement. Like we just spent hours down there freestyling. So yeah, man, definitely Lejo for sure.
Yeah. So I interrupted your story, but so it was Lejo.
So Lejo, Tech, who else? I'm a historian. Like I said, I'm a historian when it comes to hip hop. So I've always studied everybody.
Okay. So you say you're a historian, right? So did you ever run across or did you ever, you know, see a young guy from the Kansas City, Missouri side named Court Dog? Did you ever stumble on his music?
Here's what's funny. I remember Rick Hard.
Yeah. Shout out to the homie Rick Hard. Yeah.
I remember the Wax Factory. Shout out to Kilo and Shine. Yeah. They always showed me love. Like when I came in there with my first little CD, you know what I mean? It wasn't pressed up right. I took a sticky label on a CDR. Used to get jammed in people's.
Yeah.
But I was doing the best I could.
Yeah, that's right.
And Kilo and Shine said, "Come on, we're gonna put it on the shelf." You know what I'm saying? They let me put my little poster. I used all my mama ink out the printer and made me a poster. You know what I'm saying? So they put it in the window, and I remember seeing Rick Hard's poster up there, and I remember seeing a Court Dog poster.
Okay.
I remember he had like long Indian braids or something.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, cool. This is like, you know what I'm saying? Because when you young and getting in, you trying to figure out like what's my level, what's my quality gotta look like. So I remember seeing y'all in the window of the Wax Factory for sure.
Yeah. Did you ever listen to that guy's music?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't actually hear your music until like maybe like 3-4 years ago.
Really?
Oh
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. The music from the 90s, the early 2000s.
Yeah, I think it was just because I don't know how I came across you. It's just like I remember watching you do like a live and what you were saying. I was like, this makes a lot of sense. And nowadays on the internet, common sense is almost its own niche.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Common sense is a niche.
You can literally get on the internet and be like, hey,
that's right.
Open the door for women.
Yeah.
Oh, viral. Right. Because there's so much insane nonsense out there.
It is.
That when you say something that's like, hey, be faithful to your woman.
Right.
Get married. Raise a family. It's counterculture to do traditional things like that.
I'm jacking that just so you know. Common sense is my niche. Yeah.
Yeah, for real. So I remember watching the video. I was like, that sounds too much like right. He making too much sense. So I had to keep watching. I'm like, what's the angle? I'm like, no, he's just saying logical things. So I'm like, but that's what it was. I saw that and then I started.
What are your thoughts on that? Just real quick. I mean, we're on the national thing, but you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't touch on that. What are your thoughts on that? Because I think you've shared with me sidebar. You know, you said because you're a reasonable, intelligent person, the things that I said were common sense, right? Mm-hmm. Which made you say, okay, who is this dude? Let me go see why he's so qualified and making so much sense. You know, why do you think that some of the things that I have said to inspire the city and give them some guidance sometimes gets villainized and twisted?
I mean, it's the internet. That's the thing. And you know, I call you a lot of times too. I'm like, man, yeah. Because it's the internet, and on the internet, it's gonna always be like a currency of sorts. Mm-hmm. Attention is a sort of currency. Mm-hmm. Personally, in like 2014, I was going viral before there was an algorithm. Mm-hmm. And I remember I kept going viral. And then I remember I was like, I ain't got no money. Mm-hmm. Like, I see all these numbers, I ain't got no money. And for me, that's when that died. Right. I was like, I don't care. Right. But Facebook monetized engagement. Yeah. So now I think a lot of that stuff is just driven by like, you know, a lot of stuff is about discourse. Right. Nobody's trying to find a solution. Mm-hmm. Nobody's trying to communicate an idea. It's just like, can I get you to argue with me in the comments? So I don't pay enough attention to it to really
see, I didn't understand that. I didn't because I got to social media late. So for me, I'm really coming from a genuine place. No, I'm trying to help you motherfuckers.
And they like, yes.
Yeah.
I'm about to troll
Right.
this man.
Yeah. Now, can we say that some of them aren't trolling? We know the ones that are trolling, right? I won't say their names, but some of them are really, really trying to create discourse, and they're really trying to disagree and challenge the narrative, which is preposterous. It's ignorant. Like, you know, what do you think that's about?
Bro, I could not tell you. I don't think about that type of stuff. Like that's my thing is, this is what I really, really be wanting you to do, is to just pour into the minds that are ready.
Thank you.
In Kansas City, there's so many hungry, smart, young, not just artists, but like they might do administrative work. They might register all your records for you. But it's like they haven't heard somebody explain, this is how you register a record. This is how you get every cent off your record. Right. And that's what I feel like we need to strengthen in Kansas City is the infrastructure.
I agree. I agree. But let me tell you, and I do that in a weird way, like what you said. Like I would say, people would say, well, why do you go back and forth? I'm like, no. Especially once I learned. I said, no, he's just a talking head to open up the conversation because it's the people listening. Those people are not, a lot of times they don't raise their hands. They don't make themselves known. You know, they're just watching. So like you just happened to stumble on it and watch and listen to what I was saying. Then you went for the discovery part. So that does happen because what they'll do is they'll sidebar. They'll message me like, man, I heard what you said, man. You be saying some real shit. Bro, how do I, you know, so it still is a method to it, which I had to learn, you know, I had to navigate that part. Cause at first I'm taking it for face value. Like, what? Who is you? Who are y'all? Like what, you know, but then I started understanding what you said. It's like, oh, I see. Y'all want that social currency. You're attaching yourself to me. Because catch me on the right day, I'll entertain you.
Oh, for sure.
I'm petty like that. I know God's still working on me. And a lot of times people will be like, man, you're here. No, you catch me on the right day. I don't care who you are. I'll give it to you. Yeah, you can be a complete nobody. And that's I don't know if that's human nature or what, but we always pay more attention to the guy who's like, yo, your album is trash. Versus the 10 people that's like, oh my God, number 6 changed my life. You know what I'm saying? No, he said it was trash. Yeah. I just start doing better at giving, you know, reciprocating the love, you know, because yes, me and X-Rated talked about the same thing. Me and Glenn Plummer just said the same thing. Remember? I was like, Glenn, man, we going viral right now. They loving. He was like, yeah, I know. He's like, but I was arguing with these two motherfuckers.
Cheeto face 5'5". You see what he said?
And I'm like, Glenn, you had like 10,000 comments of people praising you. He said, yeah, I know, but I wanted to see what's up with them two motherfuckers right there. They wasn't on the same page.
I love that you're the voice of reason though, because this is what I told my dad too, especially when we started Legacy Builders. And I was like, listen, you have, like you said, the infrastructure, you have the platform now to give people this information in a way that is, you know, concise and that really moves the needle. Because I would tell them the same thing too. Like you going back and forth with these people that probably didn't even think that they would get a response from you in the first place. That's and now they like, dang, and you don't want to make yourself too accessible to the wrong people for the wrong reasons. Right. So I like that you're coming in. Cause so now if I ever hear you on the phone, like, man, no, I'm like, is that Irv?
Hey, now that has happened to me. I have literally had people say the most vitriolic shit to me. And I'll be like, what? Just for them to say, oh shit, OG, I didn't know you was gonna respond, man. I'm just fucking with you.
And that be the thing is like when you on 10 like that all the time, it's easy to revert back to that thing we talked about earlier in the conversation. And I just try to remember like when they say the concept of 2 dogs, you feed the dog you want to see grow.
That's right.
Everybody got 2 dogs in them. That's just feed the dog you want to see grow. And whenever you got this support system and this group of people that really do love you and really do want to see you win.
That's a fact.
You got to feed them. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
Because if you only got 100% of energy and you giving 10% to something negative, you cheating the people that's supposed to get your 100.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's
a fact. And I think sometimes the bullshit can overshadow because I know at times, you know, we attract what we think about. And then the algorithm is so funny because if you tap on that for whatever reason, it'll start feeding you shit like that. So if you tap on me just bickering with somebody for whatever reason, you're gonna see all of that, right?
Like,
Not
we
knowing
got that engagement. Let's keep it going.
Not knowing that I got 1,000 inspirational posts that you probably would never get fed. But this little bullshit, this little moment, becomes the whole storyline, But I want to fast forward a little bit. So, I mean, you doing the independent thing, right? And you coming from the city. I've talked to people about you just in conversation. I mean, I can remember Sully 4Q came out. Shout out to him. He did the theme song
Sully's so dope, man.
Yeah, Sully did the theme song
genius.
for Holdin Court, and just in conversation, your name could come up, but you're somewhat of a, I'm not gonna say an enigma, but it's like you're there, but you're not there, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It's like you've kind of transcended the local shit. And what I learned, let me ask you, do you see this? When you start operating outside of the city and you don't really put your focus on the city, it's almost like the city don't see you. You could be doing the biggest shit outside the city, but if you're not right there in their face, pep rallying and just catering and acquiescing to them, it's like you move beyond their scope of sight. Do you see that or no?
I do and I don't.
Okay.
The reason why I say I don't is because most people know me in Kansas City for a record I did for the Chiefs.
Right.
So every season you're going to go in that parking lot and you're going to hear this record playing for the last 14 years. You know what I mean? So that's been a blessing. And that's been love that the city shows every season. I watch the numbers spike on that. And then on the other hand, there's times where my artistic ego feels like, man, y'all just know me for the football song.
But you just made my point. You just made my point. That is something catering to the city. Yes. But once you start saying, okay, that's cool. I gave y'all that little thing for us. But now I'm making something for the world. They like, Kansas City has a tendency to be like, no.
I don't think here's the thing. I don't think it's just Kansas City. I think that every city I've ever toured in, the openers will come backstage, before or after the show, and they like, yeah, man, I need to get out with you because, here in Iowa, they be hating, or here in Omaha, they be hating, or here in Nevada, it's wherever I go, it's always the same thing about, people know you, they get familiar with you. Yeah. And a lot of times, when they see you living at a certain level of potential, it puts a mirror on them, and they're like, they don't want to think about why am I not, pursuing what I love the way this person is. And it's easier to kind of like tear something down in their mind. It's easier to tear something down than to rise to that level.
Exactly.
So I don't think it's just a KC thing. I think it's like a wherever your hometown thing is. Yeah. And I'm also learning too, like, we can't pick and choose what people love about us. Right. That's the other thing too. So back to my earlier point, I don't want to ever come across ungrateful for anybody who's press play on my music. Right. You might think that people like you for how you said this or, this and that. Whole time they might just like how you dress. They might just like your philosophy, or they might just like your accent.
Yes, that's a fact.
And you need to just be grateful and embrace it. That's what I've been having to tell myself. Like, if people just like my skits, like I was out of town on the East Coast, and somebody said, "Oh, bro, I know you from," and it was a skit, a comedy skit. He might not even know I do music, but there was something that he connected with, and I appreciate that. So a lot of times, like, man, just be happy somebody likes something about you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I agree. So you said something that was interesting that I agree with. You said the city needs more infrastructure, in terms of the entertainment scene, primarily music scene. Because Kansas City is rich with talent, from videographers to models, actors, directors. I love the movement that's going on with the movies. So many guys down there doing quality movies. Shout out to Chuck Brown and Bobby J. Cole.
So they just won that award.
They just won an award.
Salute.
You know what I mean? Salute to them. And Chuck is from my neighborhood. And the movie is actually good, Vengeful. So shout out to them. I actually watched it. It's really good. I mean, and I'm not just saying that.
I know I need help with administration. I need like lawyers. I need agents. I need booking agents. Because a booking agent, you could do that from anywhere in the United States. You just need to learn the venues, the routes, know the promoters. And so like,
I could help you with that. Oh, go
for sure.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. It's the idea of like all the non-glamorous stuff Like that, it takes a
Yes,
lot.
the back
You
end.
need somebody who's handling your
Yep.
merch processing.
Mhm.
You need somebody who's designing the merchandise. You
Mhm.
need somebody who's keeping your site up to date. It's
Yeah.
all these elements that go into the one guy you see on stage.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Now, is this an infrastructure as a whole for the community of artists, or is this a person need to assemble their team?
for each artist,
Mhm.
there's 30 jobs around them.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And the thing is, if you got 30 people on deck who really going hard about whoever they artist is,
Mhm.
it's only a matter of time before everybody's going to be able to really get paid how they should get paid to do it.
Mhm.
Of course, you're going to have to start off with, everybody can't get a salary like they want out the gate,
Mhm.
but it's just changing the mindset to understand that.
Mhm.
Like to understand like, all right, I believe in my man. I'm gonna help him out how I can.
Mhm.
What do you need me to do? Let me learn how to talk to people. Let me learn how to talk to booking
Entertainment
agents.
business.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
Wendy, I want to say it's Wendy Day.
Yeah, Wendy Day.
She said,
shout out to Wendy Day.
the word music is this long. The word
Mhm.
business is this long.
That's
Mhm.
right.
So it's just like really understanding that when it comes to artists, and that's what I mean by the infrastructure. Like
Yeah.
the
Now-
music is easy.
Yeah.
That's the easy part.
I agree.
Would you like an agency of some sorts, and you could take on different talents? So rather not even just music, but like you said, art or movies or different
Mhm.
aspects of entertainment, and then put in like a modular infrastructure that could be replicated in each category, and then have a team dedicated to each. Is that something that you would be open to?
Yeah, it just depends how it's like, how
Mhm.
it's laid out and explained. Like the education part is everything. Once
Yes.
everybody kind of understands what's required.
Oh, I'm a systems and processes person.
Yeah.
Exactly. The back end is important.
Mhm.
Okay.
So what I want to touch on too is, so you made a Chiefs anthem. You
Mhm.
toured with Tech Nine. You burnt up the mixtape circuit back in the day. You know, you do skits, you sing, you act too.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. So how did you come about getting the placement for the Deadpool Wolverine movie? Because that's huge.
Oh yeah.
That's I was super happy when I saw that.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
I was super happy for you.
It's a blessing. It's still like I'm not 100% sure. The two theories are, you know, it was just everybody has fans that get jobs later on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so a kid that listened to me at 16 might go on to work for an agency that scouts music. He's like, hey man, you remember that song they used to listen to all the time? So you never know what your listeners, you know, like a lot of time your listeners look out for you, like you in the industry, and they are just people that listen and like you. I'm not sure. I don't know how that came about. I just know I got an email.
Yeah.
And I laughed at first because I was like, why do y'all want to use this song? They didn't tell me what the movie was. They were being very secretive. They were like,
Yeah.
it's for Disney. And I was like, why are y'all trying to use this record?
Right.
And when they explained the colors of the costumes, I was like, oh, because nobody knew that Deadpool 3 was even coming out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that early on. And then after they reached out, like once the trailer started running, everything, the ink hadn't dried. So I was like having an anxiety attack every time I'm in a movie, because I love movies. And that trailer would come on. I'm like, oh my God, I hope they pick this up. Oh my God, I hope they pick this up. And then the day it happened, I was at my shop and everybody started calling my phone, and I seen it. I just went in the back and cried.
I feel it. I
Wow.
feel it.
Wow.
I grew up reading comic books, man.
Yeah.
I grew up
that's
like
super big.
loving comic
Yes.
books, cartoons, all that. man.
Deadpool's
Like,
my top 5 too, so that's
yeah,
super
for
hard.
sure. And then, well, I don't want to spoil, but for there to be a certain black superhero in that movie who is my favorite, you know,
Mhm.
my dad took me to see an R-rated movie when I was real young, and it was because it's like, when else do you get to see us as a superhero, like Spawn and
Yes.
and Blade, like to even see that.
Yep.
So, yeah, you know, just a blessing, and you never know when things will come back around. That's why back catalog
That's right.
is so important. That's why I said you just keep shooting,
Keep shooting shots.
because one of them shots you shot 5 years ago
Yep.
might work perfect for a sync license
Or
on
a
something
sync
else, you know?
license. Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
then once you get a win, you know, if you got a rich catalog and then something pop for you, all of that starts going up. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
All your catalog starts going up. And like you said, those other opportunities. Sync license that's a business within itself.
Yeah.
You know, because I know some artists that they primarily do music for that, not even necessarily to sell records, you know?
Yeah.
So
and definitely shout out to my brother Craig Smith. He helped me with the production for like scoring it to make it more cinematic. And he's an incredible artist, but when it comes to like soundtrack, movies, beast.
yeah, no, that's super dope. Congratulations on that.
Appreciate it.
Man, you were, that's what I mean. See what I'm saying? Like,
Phenom.
yeah, like when you
Renaissance
doing
man.
stuff outside of the city representing in such a big way. But I mean, you also do jingles and voiceover work. And you did the how did you get with the Welches?
Welches?
Yeah.
One of the homies, a lot of my career, I'm gonna say 99% of my career has been relationships.
That's right.
It's genuinely
Talk about it.
I get in the car, I pull up, I shake your hand in person, and you like, okay, that's cool. And you saw me in Atlanta. Then 2 weeks later, you see me in Philly.
Yep.
And you're like, okay. Then you see me in New York. And it's like, okay, you want to bust now. And that's how it works. It's literally you have to put yourself in alignment with blessings and miracles. People say miracles, but you got to put yourself in alignment with miracles. And it's really another one of those things, like relationships that I built. Somebody hit me because I've done skits my whole career on my albums. So, you know, I'm animated. And I've always wanted to voice cartoon characters. So somebody thought of me and reached out. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I just did the Welches thing, and then I did like the jingle too. And it's like childhood stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really cool.
Like bucket list type shit. Yeah. Now that's dope. And so with that, I know you making some bread, man. Let me hold something.
Man, it's all tied up. I'm putting it all back into music.
Let me hold a hot $100. You know what I'm saying? $150. You know what I mean? Nah, that's super dope. That's super dope. So you know what? You know, it just came to me. We have a mutual friend here in LA that you work with. Talk about your relationship with Big Ja.
That's my guy. Yeah. Ja.
Shout out to Big Ja.
Funny thing about Ja, man. I met Ja as a security guard on tour. So he was Dizzy's security guard. And I just remember, dude, so funny. Like, bro, you were nuts. Like, you hella funny, right?
Yeah.
Because on tour,
and he a big nigga too.
Yeah. I'm just sharp, like super funny.
Yeah.
And you know, on tour, everybody joking, laughing, like, nah, you're really funny. And then he started doing these things. If you go back, like way back in his Instagram, you'll see he was in the tour bus bunk, and he would be like telling these jokes in his bunk. And he just kept doing it. It was so dope to watch him like kill it. You know what I'm saying? And when I seen Tiberius the Hood Hitman.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Tiberius.
I call him crying, laughing, bro. I was like, nigga. Like, I was going through something too. I'm like, bro, I really understand how laughter is like a ministry of its own. Like, you are helping people. This is so funny. So he you know, we've always just had that relationship, stay tapped in, and then as he would have skits, he would put some of my music in the skits. And over the years, he did that a few times, and then he came out with this series called Cuddle Season. So they're like, all right, we need some original music for it. And then I did the title track for that. They shot a video. That was dope. Then the Lesbian Homie 3, they used 2 of my records for that. So again, it's like I've always loved movie, film, and it's like getting to marry the two is super cool. So much love to Big Ja, Dame, all that.
Dame. Shout out to his team, man. I got so much love for Big Ja. Just a good brother, good dude, super talented. Like you said, relationships, man. You know, and that's always the message I try to teach some of the cats from KC too. You know, I think that not just in KC, but in general, just in our culture, you know, sometimes we may struggle breaking that ice, you know, and reaching out saying, hey, brother, I love what you do. You know, I respect you.
Yeah, for sure.
And not that I need anything from you, but maybe later on down the line, we could connect on something, you know. And it's not this whole cash me out, pay me what I can get from you. It's not.
You got to offer value.
That's right.
I think that's the biggest thing is if you come into a situation offering value. Like, I never asked to get signed to Strange Music or Tech Nine. I would see artists come all the time, and no knock to them, but they'd come and be begging for deals. And how can I get on and help me and get me? And you know, I came and just asked, like, how can I help you?
Right.
Mhm.
How can I be of
And
service? Yeah.
and that even comes down to when people like want to be, everybody wants to be a boss and like the boss is the biggest servant.
Right.
At the end of the day,
Man.
they got to make sure everybody else straight and them last.
Yep. And them last. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
a spirit of servitude to get you a long way when it's genuine. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
you gain even through that because you're learning. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If you surrounding yourself with people that you want to gain knowledge from, like you helping them, you're gonna learn along the way. So, yeah, I just that's the
And then
biggest
when
thing.
you say value, it has to be tangible value, not what you think in your head. You know, not ego, because you have some people that they just think, you know, I'm the shit. I'm ready. I'm this. I'm him. I get that, but why? You have to qualify that. What are the metrics that says that? You know what I mean? So it has to be tangible value. So, you know, you being an entrepreneur and a super talented guy. So you own the family business. You've taken over the tire shop, right?
Yeah. So
and talk about your art gallery.
yeah, the tire shop, that's the family business we've had forever. It's been in Wyandotte as a community staple. And it's real close to my heart because that was my introduction to work. It's not light work. So it made music very light work. You know what I'm saying? Like sleeping in cars and hustling, like it's better than, better than like tires. And then the second thing it did was show me what ownership looked like.
Yeah.
Like the first millionaire I saw was a black man. And it was a brother that went to church with us who bought a gas station. And I remember just like having my mind blown, like what we could. Well, I wasn't even so surprised until I got older and understood how important that is. But I remember just like, dang, we could do this, we could buy this, we could own this. So my point of reference has been really cool because of the shop, and it's been a dope part of my my upbringing.
Nice. And I can assume that probably that same work ethic and discipline and that hard work, because like you said, dealing with tires and all of that is not easy work.
No.
That probably, your dad showing you that early on, you probably use that in all areas of your life and you apply that to your music and those things as well.
That's where the phrase dream big, hustle hard comes from. One of my first mixtapes was called Tire Shops and Nightclubs. I used to trade out tires for studio time. I still do sometimes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you need a new set of tires, bro, like what you gonna do? Come on. Like,
exactly.
So,
and it's snowing.
just leveraging what you have. And it's really funny to me too, because sometimes I'll be down there and somebody be like, they'll keep looking at me. Hey man, how's your brother doing that does music? I'm down there, you doing all right. Because it ain't mine. They can't fathom, like, I'm doing what a man's supposed to do.
That's right.
You're supposed to work. You're supposed to take care of what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take care of your family.
Absolutely.
So the shop is important to me that way too, because it's not something that I try to hide or run from. I'm proud of that. And I love that people can see me getting my hands dirty, because a lot of artists don't like the idea of like working. You know what I mean? But again, studio time costs money, promotions cost money.
Right.
So it's near
I
dear
love
my
that
heart.
though, bro. Love that. I love that. Let me ask you, have
like
you
my name's on the sign, bro.
Like, like how you gonna hide, right?
It's me.
So have you ever what's the worst tire that you saw rolling in that bitch? Could you see your reflection in the baldness of the tire?
Oh no. Whenever a tire is past that point, a rim comes in. There is no tire.
Oh, okay.
Just a rim. You hear you don't see it, you hear it.
Okay.
You hear it coming down the street, screeching, and then
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the worst.
So man, wrapping it up, bro. Talk to me about Big Lover, man. The recent album.
Big Lover. It's a love story. It's a love story that I lived in real time. I set out to make this beautiful ode to Black love and my queen. And, I just felt like culturally, it just felt like men wasn't like loving women no more. It just felt like there's this battle of sexes. Nobody really like each other. And I'm like, if we don't like each other, how are we going to have families? How are we going to, it's not sustainable. So I wanted to provide balance because I understand there's always going to be like hood stuff, ratchet stuff, gangster music, but it's going to be conscious on the other side. So on the love spectrum, I was like, I want to put some love in the air. And halfway through the album, in real life, I got my heart broke. And it was like, damn.
I remember that. Was that your social media meltdown a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah, I didn't want to. I just kind of let you,
Yeah.
Go
yeah.
through this process.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
you have
yes.
to.
I wanted to reach out so bad, but I just minded my business,
Oh.
No, and I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember a point where it was so many people that's just like, I don't know what to say, bro, because you don't have no emotions. Like you're not that. It was like my emotions kicked in for 30 plus years all at once.
Yeah.
And it was so much going on. I had like 3 near-death experiences before that. It was a lot. I'm selling a house. It's like a lot of stuff going on. So where that's why I always talk to black men like, bro, it might not have to be, growing up in the church, it's like, just pray about it. It's like, well, you can go to therapy too.
Yes.
You can talk to the homies, you know what I mean? But you can't just keep bottling up, keep it push, keep push,
Suppressing.
So during that time, like it's like 3 a.m. and I'm mourning. I'm crying for the funerals I never cried at.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm crying for relatives that died, and it's like all purging out. It's like, damn, what the hell is happening? So it was a serious process that was necessary. And in the midst of it all, my first nature was to like, nah, don't let nobody see you cry. Don't let nobody, nah. And I was like, I was in heavy communication with God. And it was like, no, they need to see this. And also, I'm telling God I want to put this album out about love. He was like, all right, we're going to really talk about love. All right, I'm going to put you through some things to make you really make this album about like love for real. And that's what happened. And the people that hear it, a lot of people like, man, I feel seen. Like, I feel like you said everything I can't say, or I don't know how to say, or I would never, be comfortable putting out there. And it's been a blessing, it's everything that went into it. I'm grateful for. And it's not what you would expect. Okay. That's what I say. People see that cover. People love the cover. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I see you all earled up on there. Got the oil and shit. I mean, so was that Diddy oil, or was that regular oil?
Look.
Absolutely not.
It wasn't the Diddy oil.
Absolutely not.
It was a lot of oil. Like how many bottles? I was like, that is
it was just shea butter.
It was just shea butter.
So glow.
Okay.
But people think of R&B and love in a certain way, and I wanted to tell a story that I've never heard told by R&B artists, especially in a generation where everybody's so cool, everybody's 2P, nobody's being honest, and I was just very honest with this album. And what I learned was that's what people want. I already knew that people want honesty, but I had never allowed myself to be that transparent. And people are dancing to it. People are making memories to it. People are healing to it. I'm sure it's triggering for some people. You know what I mean? But altogether, I'm really proud of it. And it's a blessing that the single Making Love has been really picking up steam and taking off ever since the Timberland co-sign. So it's just been, it keeps growing legs.
Timberland co-sign. That's one of my favorite producers.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah. Like top 3.
Absolutely.
That's hard. I have a last question before we wrap up. Your men's book club, because I think that is super dope. Oh yeah. Can you touch on that before?
The men's book club came about because I was really wanting to find more things to do that are purpose driven. And I started thinking about spaces I wanted for myself and couldn't find. And then I believe if you can't find the vibe or the space or the thing you're looking for, you have to create it. And when I started doing it, I looked around and realized, okay, I'm not the only one. And I encourage everybody though, like whatever that niche is that you feel like is just you, it's not just you. It's never just you. But you got to put forth the effort to, they say build it and they will come. So yeah.
Right. Super dope.
That is.
Super dope. Well, listen, bro, I appreciate you coming all of this way, man.
Appreciate you having me.
Want to give you your flowers, brother. You represent the city and the soil, the turf at a big level, you know what I mean, at a high standard. I appreciate you. I appreciate your artistry. I appreciate your talent. I appreciate our brotherhood, man. So
for sure.
Listen, thank you for coming all the way out to LA.
Yeah, thanks
to
for
be
having
on the
me.
Holdin Court Podcast. We've been trying to get this done, man. So you're always welcome. You know that. This is home, brother. So, man, thank you, brother.
Appreciate y'all. For sure.
Hey, so there's another one, Big Court, Holdin Court Podcast, man. My beautiful daughter, Rachel Renee, Irv Da Phenom. Y'all go check out the new album. big lover, man. Follow me. What's your social media?
It's Irv Da Phenom on everything. IRVDAPHENOM.
Already. So, man, I'm Big Court, man, and we out. Salute.